Okay,
All right, we're good. Welcome, everybody. Today is, the 25th of September. Oh, yeah, that's right there. Lunenburg Water District Commissioners Meeting Agenda. Let's start by saying pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, review and sign warrants. They are being passed around. We also have some minutes being passed around.
I wasn't here, so I'm not
Right,
gonna
there's
sign.
one you can't sign and there's one I can't sign. Well,
Yeah,
that'll
it's
be
the 11th,
confusing.
September 11th one I wasn't here.
So which one is
That one's,
This one I can,
Mr. Woodward, Mr. Bershwood, I think Mr.
you will sign this one. You can. Oh, this is the one you can't, okay.
that's one. Mr. Bershman, this is special. He's committed.
And this was just the attachment?
Just the attachment that we
of
referenced on
everything
Joshua.
and- Okay.
Yep.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion, we accept the minutes of September 11th.
Here a second.
No, he doesn't second because he wasn't
Wasn't
here.
here.
So it's basically just us saying yes.
Yes, so moved.
Works for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I just want to read this for a couple of minutes.
Take your time, John.
Go for it, boys.
Well, I mean, we can move on while John's reading that. The next thing we get is discuss the revised PFAS master plan, which is pretty much what we kind of hashed out quite a bit on the last meeting. As far as, I believe that we left that, we kind of leave that in a time bond. We said we kind of wait to get some more information back from them.
So yes, we talked to Lou at Time Bond, and he kind of feels the same as the residents has for concerns that,
Yep.
you know, maybe we do hold off and wait till we gather all the information,
Sure.
and then we can present more details, you know, as requested. He did agree though that we're still gonna submit the grant,
Yep.
get the grant. Maybe he'll modify that proposal so it can kind of touch into some of more of the detailed stuff. But, yeah, so we'll shoot for the grant, see how it goes, and if not, we wait till the pilot testing.
Sure.
So, and he said, you know, that the original opinion from the beginning was Keating's gonna be the
Expensive.
best. But not now, he's like, he said, we're looking at probably 3,000 gallons of waste a week, you know? And I don't know what that, you know, we need more details.
Yeah, let's get
You know?
before we even make speculations, let's get the data back.
But yeah,
And then we can sit down and start comparing apples to apples
Right.
and seeing what the best move forward is
yeah, I agree.
after that.
Yeah, so the pilot testing, we had to have the SCADA guy come in today,
Okay,
yesterday, and put an outlet plug for the pilot testing to use, so when the pump is on, that activates a chemical pump for that. So we had to tie it in, so when run outlet, so we, the SCADA guy put that in yesterday, and so things are moving ahead to get that going. And that'll be done without the removal of the harness.
correct.
So this is DEP's big thing, and they
Yeah.
think we're gonna plug the filters. So we don't know until we try.
Yeah,
And this is part of the pilot testing, so if we do plug the filters, then we know we need to deal with the hardness prior to that, so.
just in curious of talking to Lou and those guys, I mean, we're not the only one with hardness in water. Did he offer any, knowledge on that or anything?
It's actually pretty rare in New England.
Really?
There's only a couple spots, I believe Westford has one of their wells, and they just did a pilot test up in Maine, that's so they're taking this equipment from the testing in Maine and moving it to Lunenburg, so. But it's not very common.
Okay.
And I never even, and usually when we do well testing, you know, you look at iron and manganese,
Mhm.
bacteria, pretty much that's it. So when this one came back high on the hardness, who cares? No, didn't
Well,
know
I
what's
mean,
on
right,
it.
yeah.
But then when we turned it on, then we started seeing the complaints. And,
Yeah.
you know, it was a wake up.
So we're looking at the hardness, the amount of hardness we have in the water could contaminate the removal of the PFAS if we don't deal with the hardness first. But if we deal with the hardness first, we're creating 3,000 gallons of byproduct a week that is now contaminated with PFAS.
Correct.
I didn't think about the PFAS. But yeah. that is
If you're letting it go, if you're dealing with the hardness first, there's still PFAS in the water. So you're generating 3,000 gallons of waste that now has whatever parts per million or trillion of PFAS in it. So now we're talking about getting rid of 3,000 gallons a week of contaminated waste
Yeah.
versus 3,000 gallons a week of PFAS-free brine that, what do they typically do with that brine if it doesn't have PFAS in it?
I'm not sure. He mentioned something about if you dried it out, you could use it as a road salt. You dried it out.
So we're gonna have to have some sort of a process, or it's gotta go somewhere, and at least it's not, doesn't have PFAS in it.
Right.
If
But
we
we
can-
plugging up our filters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a,
So, I mean, yeah, it's, let's see what they say, because I'm very curious as to the approach to this, of
Yeah.
what's gonna happen.
Well, we'll see. And this is in many months, so it's gonna be a long time before we know.
Right.
Unless it fails quickly, then we'll know quicker.
all right.
Anything to add to that, Mr. Busy?
No.
We'll move on. Commissioner, Superintendent, Clerk, Treasurer, Bishop.
I just got one main stuff.
Yeah, how's that going?
It's going good. We can see the end. Pressure tested the first section from North Road to Townsend Harbor. That was perfect. Never dropped any pressure for the test. We chlorinated it, and just today we moved the chlorinated water to the next section, so to Arbor Street. It's been kind of difficult because typically you flush and do your samples, but they skipped the hydrants. They just put the valves in and did the main line. So now they went back and stuck on a hydrant at the Danny Proctor's, the puppet theater. So they just stuck that in yesterday. So now we have a spot that we can actually flush. So once we get flushing, then we can start doing some water quality. So once we pass the bacteria test, say in that first section, then they can start doing the services.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of curious again, what was their reasoning for going into tying into like the curb stop like they did versus running a temporary line to their post bib outside their house? Like,
Because the new hose bibs are backflow air gaps.
okay.
So if you tie it into it, the water won't flow through.
See if they have like a frost-free valve or something like that.
Exactly.
I gotcha.
So
Okay.
so with that was one issue.
Yeah.
And then we have such high pressure, 120, 130.
Oh, I
So
know.
now there's no pressure reducing down. So there was one house the service wasn't marked correctly.
Mhm.
We thought it was on the live main, but it actually came off the Arbor Street main.
Mhm.
So Arbor Street was shut off, so we could do the new hydrant stuff. So we tried tying into the outside faucet, didn't work, and I'm like, this was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm like, we're talking half hour to dig this up,
Sure.
tie into the thing, and we did it, and
Yeah.
it was quick.
Yeah.
And so then we started thinking, so we started looking at other houses,
Sure.
trying them on, and we couldn't.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's just dig them up.
Yeah.
Done, so. And then on the money side of stuff, it's good because all the water went through the meters, so we're still getting a bill. If we went to temporary side, then.
For the water.
All these things.
Yeah.
All these things.
A lot of pools getting filled up.
Oh, you bypass the slip, that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So we can see the end, so probably, depending on the weather, tomorrow, I would say, if it's okay weather tomorrow, I think by Friday, the main line is done. They just went by Connell Drive,
Yep.
so the end is near.
So they'll get that charge and test it, and once that tests out good, then they just start going back and tying in each one.
So I think the way the process will go, so it's gonna take time to get the bacteria results in the
Yeah.
flushing. So I think what they'll do is, while that's taking place, they'll go back and start hot topping. You know,
Okay, yeah.
kind of finalizing the hot
Yep.
top stuff, so cleaning up, stuff like that. So.
Actually, to follow up with the Mass Ave stuff, bills come out next week, October 1st,
Yep.
and we've been sending notices, all kinds of flyers, but this October 1st bill is
This
gonna
the first
have
one. Get that.
Have
the
that
$25 charge
Yeah.
per connection. So if you have a 2-family home, you're gonna get two
connection.
$25 fees.
So it's per connection, so like when you send it to like a multi-unit that has one connection, like the high rises at Emerald, they're gonna
Yep.
get 24.
24. Yep.
Good.
Yep. So I'm sure we'll get the phone calls, but just to put the word out.
Yeah, I
But,
mean, on
sorry.
the good side, because we had our budget number, that was based on one of those fees per connection,
Mhm.
not
Per
like
account.
24. per-
Yeah.
Right.
So the actual number will be less,
Okay.
which
When we
means
get
that
going.
will be good.
So it'll probably be, because I think we did, I'll talk to Unibank again, because I know we had originally
Yeah.
done everything because of the timing with the temporary borrowing. So
Right.
I'll talk to him again when we get closer to the end date. But I think we had figured out originally the 6th month or whatever we
Sure.
did, so it was like February.
Yeah.
So either way, it's definitely October billing. Most likely January bill will see the 25, but then once we get the final bond issue
Right.
and we have that exact amount, we'll divide that by
Yeah.
all that, and then people will see that change on the bills.
Do we expect any cost changes from MDR, or is that pretty solid?
I think, my guess is gonna be under budget, you know, because in the budget, you know, they have, 50 yards of ledge, that's in there. So you total that whole number, and then we have the contingency number, which we carried. So I think, I mean, we could touch into the contingency a little bit, because the little things kind of didn't go as perfect, but I think we should be at or under budget.
Good.
So do we want to, so now, this is our first meter reading with that Neptune 360,
Yep.
the new system, so I mean, we have our little reader, it has an antenna on it, and then you can use your phone, iPad, whatever you want to log in with. They call them belt clip readers, so you don't need to do that whole thing. So I called, and I thought they were gonna be cheap, because I thought it'd be great if we had two of them, and we just leave in the truck. She calls, hey, go get a final, you get the app on your phone, go read your meter. And so I called their prices, and they were over $7,000 a piece. I'm like, yeah, you can keep those. I'm not spending $7,000, because we already got the main unit.
Yeah.
And I questioned him also on a main hub reader. So if we stuck a main reader at the Sunny Hill tank,
Right.
Yeah,
you know, we could probably read 90% of town just
Mm-hmm.
by sitting here, you know, so.
did he give you a price?
He's working on a price.
Okay.
You know, I told him, why, do you know about a price?
No, I was gonna say, because keep in mind, like, I didn't know what the price was gonna be. If it's not like astronomical, that would be a huge saver. Like,
Yeah.
because I mean, we have people that call, I had someone that called yesterday, there's no way my final bill is this much. I'm like,
Right.
all right, let me go. So the guys were still out, so I went and data read it. I've only been watering first thing in the morning, not even 20 minutes. I'm like, nope, you watered at 7 a.m., at noon, and at 7 p.m. for a month straight. I said, and you can go down literally to
Wow.
the hour. So to be able to not have to pack this whole thing up, grab
Correct.
it, at least I'll be back,
Yeah.
drive down there and be able to be like, hang on, I'll tell you exactly when you ran water. You know
Yeah,
what
that
I mean?
would be pretty big,
nice.
yeah.
So,
If that's,
he said they have a price, it's the full install, the antenna, the cable, and I said, we could do all that. So he said that would be a lot cheaper
Okay.
for us to do it. So I throw a kink in how they typically do this stuff, so.
Yeah.
Because if we do the new radio stuff that
Right.
I'd like to do,
Yep.
we already have the antenna cable up there.
Yep.
You know, we'll just swap it to a meter antenna instead of one of our regular antennas.
I think it would also be helpful too for people that might have leaks, or
Yeah.
you would just
Yep.
get live, like, hey, you know.
and that's something with these new radios, as like this quarter we just went out and I print my report and there was probably 20 no reads, which means the radios.
Yeah.
So now it's all these new radios that can data log. So as we can do that, I can go into this 360 now, click a button and say, print me a report of, go in and do a data log like this.
Yeah.
If anything it'll pick up from here, it'll then shoot me a report and I can call them and be like, hey, you got something going on,
Right, yeah.
before the bill comes out. of
Yes.
Like, oh my God, this
I
is
think
huge,
also in the
it's-
past when people are coming with leaks, I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
Even if you had rental property, if you could see someone's abusing water,
Yep.
the list goes on and on, so
Yep.
that'd be great.
Yeah,
Well,
Little-
like
little
the-
quirks.
The resident that was in complaining about his bill, we tested his meter and stuff.
oh, yeah,
Yeah, we could data log him.
Yeah.
You could clearly see, hey, he runs his irrigation.
Yeah.
and it did pass, I don't know if we ever told you. It
Oh,
did
the meter
pass.
passed?
The meter passed,
Yeah,
99%, which
right,
if anything less, it would have gone, anything less than the 100 just means it would have gone slower.
right.
Yeah, so
So-
lost to us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I did talk to him and he's been good.
Good, good.
Quick question, on the radios, how are you making out with the new radios? Remember you wanted to get new radios?
Oh, for the communication.
Yep,
Yeah, our system, I don't know if it got struck by lightning, something happened, so we have a temporary radio system up there now. And so I've been speaking with the fire chief.
Yep.
And they're looking at upgrading their
Yeah.
whole radio system. So that's why I talked to their radio guy who's on the state bid. And so we're looking at coordinating work and doing it together.
okay,
And it could be a financial benefit because the filters that go in place, if we jump in and we all filter
Yeah.
and work together, then the communications won't interfere with each other like they do now.
That would have
So,
been
yeah,
something
so
we
we're-
should have
we're
asked
working.
for.
okay. 'Cause,
Working on it.
yeah, there was a little jam there, but we
Yeah.
won't get into it.
So, yeah, so right now, we're just on the Sunny Hill tank.
Yep.
You know, it doesn't work as good as the old one did, but I think when we do a new one, we'll look at it, the whole town, and it'll be a good thing.
Okay,
No.
Any other public comment?
Yep.
I just still, sorry, I still have something on,
But go ahead.
Mr. Super-
You certainly are.
I'm sorry, Mr. Burke. Just curious,
My apologies.
I had a couple questions for the superintendent regarding the planning board voted, passed the water protection bylaw. You sent them a new map
I sent them the original map that was requested
in,
with just the leg on Kilburn Street.
okay, so do we have, this isn't current then, correct?
That's the
That's
approved
just-
zone 2.
This is the approved, but where are the,
Yeah, that's mostly a distribution map.
right, so do we have a map that we can either have?
Yeah, we can
or
put one up.
post
Yep.
or put online that shows where all the zone 1 protections are, the additional zone?
Did they approve the extra ones at Lake Shirley?
They, according to, there's a map that I'm assuming you gave them to go along with this bylaw update that they're supposed to be voting on at the same time.
I believe it was a 2021.
Yes,
Map,
but
July
he
2021,
emailed
yeah.
Logan and told them, yes, there's this map, but I asked you to incorporate another
You're doing
one.
good. Yeah, so there's the original zoning map that was approved in 2009.
Mhm.
That includes the zone 1, 2s, and 3s
Yes,
of Lunenburg's wells, also Townsend, Shirley, and the potential well sites on, 2 of them on Lake Shirley and 1 of them on Goodrich Street. So those had a 400-foot radius around them to protect them.
right.
So that was what I questioned Logan. I said, I spoke to that at one of the previous meetings, that, I would like to protect us again on the new map. So I sent them the new map with just for Lunenburg with the little leg on Kilburn Street. And I said, I'm also attaching the old map, which shows the protective ones around at the lake.
So I'd like to make sure that they have a map of the things that you would like to protect to go along with the, a map that they can take to town meeting and say, this is the map we're voting on.
Okay, so, all right, and so if it's up to, you guys decide. But if it's up to me, I want those protective radiuses.
I was under the impression that you were going back to the 2009 map that had already had those on
Yep.
there and adding
Add
the
that.
zone 2 because of the upgrades that we did on Lancaster Ave to that map, which still had everything that you wanted protected.
Yes.
So I want to make sure that we have a copy that we can show to the public and give to the planning board. This is the map we're voting on.
I can do that. Either George can put that up
Okay.
quickly.
So that, I just wanted to be clear on that. And I believe their next step is they're sending it to the select board or sending it for a town meeting. So,
Yeah, they have to have an official public hearing, though, correct? That wasn't last night, was it?
yeah, it was last night.
Oh, that
Yeah,
was
they
it?
had that, they voted to move that forward. I wanted to make sure they had a correct map with that, because they did reference the map when they talked about the bylaw.
So if I can add to that, Mr. Bursch, they referenced the July 2021 map.
Right.
So if, what Mr. Bursch is saying is if your map is different than that, then there may be another step. So sooner is probably better.
Right, that if we wanted to keep those other protections that were on the 2009 map, that we took off of the 21 map, then we want to have a map that they submit with this whole bylaw that goes with what, our intentions are.
I agree. There's been a lot of question about that map. I would definitely like to make that solid, solidified, that this is exactly
This is the
it,
map, right.
attached to this proposal or whatever they're calling it.
Because there's been so many different copies of that
Right,
bylaw,
yes.
so many modifications to the bylaw.
Yeah,
And then, can we get a copy of what they are submitting as a bylaw
Oh, yeah.
without the markups?
so this whole thing was mostly on the wording of the bylaw.
Right.
We never really discussed the map.
Right,
Not
but
at all.
it's easy enough for us.
They brought up the map at the meeting, so that's where I would like, listen, if they brought up a map, make sure they have the right map.
Yeah,
that they
so I'll
submit.
get them, I'll have two maps, one without it and one with the protection, and you guys you say you want the protected one?
Every available site that we have looked at in the past that could be a viable
Yep.
site, and that they were protected before,
You want to protect it?
I want them protected now.
Absolutely.
So, all right, so I'll have that, this is what the water district would like to have
Sure.
on that.
Yeah,
Again, if I can add, I think if you use whatever that July 2021 map was, if it doesn't have what you want, then I think you need to be specific and say, it does not have these things, they should be added. Right? Because if not, we're gonna be exactly where we
Right.
are, which is not knowing what map to
Right.
use.
Right.
right. So the 2021 map was never voted and approved.
Okay.
Voted,
Well, it was not, so it was voted on and not approved. So what I would like to go back to is the 2009 map with the one addition that we needed to have. We needed to add on to a zone 2 because of work that was done on wells on Lancaster Ave. And that was recommended by DEP as something that we had to include in our map. So I would like to go back to the 2009 map, but adding the
The leg.
leg that is in the 2021 map. And I don't, if that means the creation of a 2024 map, then I'm fine with.
Yeah.
That is
That would be the
clean.
best.
I'd love to have a 2024 map.
Here's-
That's like,
here's
this is
your
the updated
updated one.
version.
And then you
All
reference it.
other versions are obsolete.
Yeah.
That is DEP approved, by the way.
Yeah.
They
Right,
also
and
did
that way you're
reference
going to
DEP.
Yeah.
when you look at a 2024 version, it's not well, let's take the 2021 version and merge it with the 2009 version and take the Axe product,
Keep me in.
the newest map.
Oh, I do, yeah.
I think that would be the easiest way for them to reference it, because it's a new article and bylaw that they're putting through.
And they did add that the map came from DEP, so if it's with your influence or whatever,
Yes.
however that happens, but
Yep.
that is, it seems like it's part of the process.
So that's all, just making sure that it's clean and that we get a final copy of their bylaw so we can look through it. And, it didn't seem like they had a final copy at that. They had an idea of what they wanted, but I don't think they had a final copy that they actually voted on.
I agree. I think they closed.
I think they voted on the
closed-
concept.
Right, they closed public comment basically at that meeting and just went through their legal.
Right, but I don't think there's a final, so I just want to make sure we have a final and a final plan.
Final and a final.
Final.
Yeah, final note.
Anything else, Mr. Burke?
I think that's all I have for this evening.
I just got one more thing.
Yeah,
I
we
just want to
already-
mention the new dump truck I've been trying to get pricing on. Wonderful state of Massachusetts, you cannot get diesels anymore. So I saw all kinds of stuff getting posted everywhere, and so I started actually reading about it. And if the manufacturer can meet a certain requirement percentage of electric ones,
Then you can buy.
then you could sell diesel. And from what I got, Ford, Dodge, they're not gonna do it, so you can't buy Ford or Dodge 2025 model. So the pricing we're gonna be getting is on the gas engine, so.
Awesome.
Yep.
Can we get an electric?
You crazy.
Yeah, I'd love to see how that's going.
Yeah.
3-ton asphalt.
We'd have to put in
The
a-
town
yeah,
voted to support
charging.
going electric, but I haven't seen any electric town vehicles yet either.
Don't worry.
We are drifting.
I'm sorry.
Down a
I'm sorry.
rabbit hole.
Yes,
I'd love to talk about that with you. Give you my 2 cents on it. Mr. Esposito, you get anything?
No, I'm all set.
Any additional public comment?
Yes, I got a couple. So there is a written document, which is what they were talking about the other night. Have you seen that or not? You're welcome to have this copy
not
if you
a
want.
final copy that they have sent.
I wouldn't mind a copy of that, John.
Yeah.
Let me just-
If we could grab
Do you want
that.
me to take
that
a
would be
copy?
Nope.
You're
It's
good.
an
great. So
extra copy, so
that's
you
the
don't
one
have
that
to
they,
share it. That's what they were
voted.
talking
Okay.
to.
Okay.
So, and that's
Thank
the
you.
one that Mr. Harris had provided, whatever, after the meeting, the last meeting that he was at. So I did have a couple of questions as well. You talked about the fee increasing $25 next month per household, I guess is what you said.
Yep.
Per connection.
No, not per connection, because one connection could have multiple households. Look at Fred, he'll tell you.
Per unit.
Yeah, we're putting up per unit.
Per unit.
Not per
Yeah,
connection.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
$25, is that all of that money per unit, however it's broken up, whatever, going towards the loan for what's going
Mass
on Mass Ave?
Yep.
So all of that is going, nothing's set aside for anything else, it's all
Nope.
going towards.
No,
the-
Yeah,
that's-
so whatever that final bill comes to, then we're gonna give the exact number for
Yeah.
it. So that's gonna
And
be
it's-
specific just for that payment.
Yeah, solely
Okay.
for that.
And on the bill, it's going to say, this fee is for this project.
This line item.
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
it's lined up, when you see your water, you know, you have your minimum, your tier 1, your tier 2. I should have approved, actually just got an email to me that proves, so I should see, I made them try to do, water main project. So then once we get the final bond, I'll put, water main project 2025 to 2045. So everybody knows, this is your 20-year loan and you're gonna pay this amount for the next 20 years.
Yep.
And that's
Okay.
exactly what it's gonna go to.
Okay, thank you. The second question. So driving here tonight, seeing the bits and pieces of pipe that are sitting out in front of the work area, the water pipe that's come out of the ground, to me that looks horrible, which is why it's being replaced, obviously. Is there a lot more like that in town? Why did we do that before other areas? I'm kind of curious versus how big is this problem? Clearly, that's been a problem. I know you guys have worked on that forever. Been replacing it, pieces and things like that. But I'm more curious of, what does the rest of the town look like? Is it all like that? Is some of it like that?
I would say a majority of the town, probably more than half is that type of pipe. That section, we have other sections of that pipe that it's perfectly fine, no issues at all. That section on Mass Ave, it was an issue. I don't know if it was.
Any reason why that you know of?
No.
I mean, I know Jeff's worked on that a million times, right?
Yeah.
You've taken it up at night or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It's
So-
been a lot of problems.
So we've had areas, like I remember it was probably 10 years ago, we had a broken main on White Street, same pipe. Never had a broken main on White Street ever since I was here. And then it was like 2 a year, 3 a year, and it was like this getting out of control. And so we ended up replacing that one too. So I mean, this could be another street, like rolling into the same pipe, that needs to go. That's always on the top of the list. It's actually right on the Mass Ave, so that'll probably be the next project, so. But I mean, but you never know, what, it could be a whole same pipe on a different street, so.
Well, so the piping, just, I go further, I know where you're going, I think I know where you're going with this. How old's the system?
1939.
So
70,
I'm
90,
horrible with
90,
math.
94 years, 95.
what is the life expectancy of the pipe that was put in the ground when it was put in there?
You're asking questions you don't want answers to.
I know the answers, and this is gonna go directly to what Mr. Fortune talked about.
But that type of pipe, that is the concern. The life expectancy was 50 years.
So we've well exceeded the expectancy of some of the life of this pipe. And I think exactly what you're saying and what Fran's saying is, when we're done on Mass Ave, is there gonna be another area? Yeah, more than likely. And when we fix that area, is there gonna be another area? More than likely. Because we've exceeded the life expectancy of the pipe that's in the ground.
So clearly in 1939, all the pipe wasn't put in, right? Some portions of pipe were put in and they were added over time or
Correct.
whatever.
Correct.
I assume some of that historical data is available, so you know if some of it is really 50 years old or some of it's 80 years old or 90 years old or whatever. I assume that information so you can kind of guess where it may go next. Because you mentioned also it's a certain type of pipe.
Correct. It's it's a transite pipe. It's like a cement paper.
Oh,
it's a-
okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but the main trunk, the main system was installed in 1939. That was Mass Ave, all the main lines.
So all of them, okay, so they all were done in the same year.
But then, like, certain streets, like Pleasant Street was done in, like, I think the next year, 1940, you know, so, but everything's pretty close to that.
Oh, interesting,
But there
okay.
were little extensions here and there, but the main system was, you know, 1930.
Mostly put in
1940.
those first few years.
So the pipe we put in now, there's different, there's plastic pipe and then there's duct line. We use duct line pipe now, which has a life expectancy of 100 years. And they just came out with a pipe, different version of the pipe, it's probably 4 or 5 years ago, zinc coated. So it's a galvanized, so they coat the outside of the pipe. And that doubles the life expectancy. Now the new pipe we're putting in is expected to last 200 years.
Okay.
And that extra cost for that zinc coating, I think it was like $1 a foot, so it's nothing huge. And I don't think anybody even makes pipe now that's not zinc coated. So a lot of time with the duct line pipe, it's cement lined inside, so that treats the water so it doesn't affect the integrity of the pipe from the inside. And now with the zinc coating on the outside, it's protected from the outside. So it was either when you lay in your water main, you either zinc coat it or you wrap it in plastic.
Mhm.
And the zinc coating just was the simplest, easiest way.
So Mr. Birch's observations were correct, because the next question is gonna be, do we have a master plan to replace this pipe, right? And how are we funding that?
Yeah, that was,
So,
while you're diving into, this is
Yeah.
all the plan of the Lancaster, where we're gonna make boatloads of money in Lancaster. That was gonna fund that master plan.
so we have a master plan. It's not that we're not looking at, oh my God, let's just wait and see what comes up next. There was a master plan done, when was that done? Back in
Well, that's
the,
probably 10 years ago now.
yeah, so 10 or 15 years ago, a master plan was done, and it analyzed the system, what areas should be replaced, and the cost of replacing these areas. Obviously, if we don't have the funding, we can't do this. So Fran takes that master plan, takes where we have areas of town that we're having the most water main breaks, and the age of the pipe, and takes all that into consideration, and we've basically been kind of focusing on those, so we're not necessarily being proactive because we don't have the funding to be proactive. And I thought the master plan back then was millions?
Oh, it was-
It has to be,
Millions.
right? It's gotta be-
Millions.
Yeah.
So, and it's just not, it's not feasible to, why replace stuff that is working? So we've kind of been just focusing on the stuff that's been,
problem.
the problem areas as those are failing and correcting those, and then move on to the next, versus we could replace a line that's on that master plan and we might not have been needed.
I know, yeah, might not have a problem with it in 20 years.
So everything that we're doing, like Mass Ave is on the master plan.
Yes.
But maybe there was another street above it, and because of all the problems, we moved it up the list.
Right.
But they're all,
So that would have to be reevaluated at some point in the future, and then I would probably support that if we had the support to fund replacing all the piping, but we don't
It's
have
expensive.
anything for that, so that's kind of the route that we've been going.
When we did apply, it was 3 years ago, SRF funding to replace a lot of this pipe, but it wasn't approved. A lot of it was system upgrades, like Beale Street. That's an interconnecting loop between the two tanks. That's only a 6-inch main. That should be a 12-inch main. So that was one of the sections. Lancaster Ave, that's 8-inch pipe, main feed from the wells and Keating's. That should be a 12-inch pipe. We've had a few breaks on that one, so that's probably a potential area that will be next. And right off of Rolling Acres, so which Rolling Acres is a high priority. You know, that's one I want to do in-house, and I've been trying to do it for like the last 3 years. But every time like we get our staff to do it, people start leaving, and then I can't do it with 2 new guys.
Yes.
So I think maybe next year that's something we could probably not do the whole thing,
Sure.
but maybe come off of Lancaster Ave and get to Meadow Lane,
Yep.
and then maybe do Meadow Lane next year. We don't really have a
Yep.
problem up in the top section, so if we got to Meadow Lane, we're only get 2 Meadow Lane and Meadow Lane. I think you know we did the highest problem section. So
that's kind of how we've been. It's on our minds, and it's something that we discuss frequently, and just go to the next spot and
Yeah.
do the best we can.
I guess obviously everybody's concern, yours is included, I'm sure, is that the $25 that we're gonna spend for 20 years is probably not all of it, right?
Oh, no.
There's more that's gotta be spent over the next 20 years, and I think people need to know that, based on what you're saying today, is it's not kind of one and done, that's just one.
yeah.
Right.
And there's more.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, I like Fran's idea, obviously, if you guys can do it from here, it's certainly gonna be.
A
less
huge
expensive.
savings. We just couldn't do Mass Ave with
Yeah,
something
too
that
big.
we
Too
couldn't touch for
That's
from
not
our
our-
standpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, a couple of years ago, you guys did, was it
Maple Parkway.
Maple Parkway did that in-house?
Yep. And then it was the next year we did that little section of White Street.
Yep.
And the cost just to engineer White Street, because we had to go to official bid,
Yeah.
the engineering cost more than it did for us to do the whole
Yep.
Mid Park, which was twice the distance.
Right.
So for us to do it in-house, huge thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, once you have to go out to bid, then you're talking about engineering and
prevailing wage.
prevailing wage
Yeah,
and
okay.
the cost of having the engineer involved, and a lot of the stuff that they can do in-house here, they don't have to meet all those requirements.
So on that, the bill where we're doing that separate line item for that water main, I was at a rate survey, a class on water rates and generating revenue and stuff like that. And I think it was the town of Acton, that this is how they do it. And they had line items for whatever it is. So they said it was perfect when they go for funding. They want to approve the money to do this project. And then that's when they go to the people. Hey, it's going to cost you $7 a quarter. They're much bigger than us, so it'd probably be $14 a quarter for us. So, but they had that actual number, so the people could vote. This is what it's going to be. The impact of my bill is going to be this.
Yeah.
And they could do a legit vote, to see their impact. So I kind of like the way this is.
I like
you can see
that,
it,
yeah, I very much like the way
I
this
think
is.
this is gonna be good for tracking.
Yeah,
I can look exactly with my bills right now, and I can figure out, normally I can see per book, like we have the 14 books,
Yeah.
14 routes. Now I can go in and I can figure out single-family homes, pull in this much, commercial, pull in this, we'll be able to, per thing, I'll be able to see it, so. The follow what you were saying, I've been reading, we get the emails, Mass Waterworks, American Waterworks, all of that we're not out of the ordinary for aging infrastructure. That is a huge
Oh, no, that's probably
topic.
a common,
Huge topic, and then the problem is that the funding, if we didn't have PFAS, a lot of that funding would be going to everybody's aging
Infrastructure,
infrastructure, but now that's kind of pushed to the side, and PFAS is up there, so it's tough. There's a lot of talk from the higher ups on how do we address both, because
So this actually had a class last Wednesday, and this came up. The Mass DEP was there, the guy who does the SRF program, and we have a lot of water main infrastructure that we would like to replace.
Right.
Is any funding going to be for that? And he said it's gotta be something pretty critical for it to get moved up the list, because you get points for the, how critical, the critical needs of it. And so in our case, let's say we did a PFAS treatment plant, and we said, okay, we need to tie the water main on Lancaster Ave to get the extra flow.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we could probably sneak that in there, but he says, we look at all that stuff. He says, we can see, we can see
Exactly what you.
the fluff you added, he's gonna say like, no, that's a separate SRA.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, so we could tweak the little stuff, maybe.
But no,
We're definitely gonna try.
a lot of people are struggling with that. With systems.
Anything else, Mr. Forte?
Nope, that's it.
Good,
Thank you.
good points.
Yeah.
It's
no,
not,
I mean-
we don't discuss it often, and it is good that people
Right.
think about it.
I mean, the bottom line is, you know, if it's a 1939 built system, and over the years we replaced basically, you know, you could say as needed, because we're not gonna go dig up a line that's been working, but you're right, I'd love to have all new pipes in town, but it's not possible, and it's kind of like a management thing, like we have to, like Fran said, we're gonna pull this one up and we'll put this next, and
Yeah, of course.
Not all doom and gloom though, you know, we don't have any lead in any of our service
Yeah.
lines or
Yeah.
anything, so,
Right.
you know, there are positives to
Yeah.
the system,
Yep.
so,
all right.
great.
I'd accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved. Oh, well, real quick,
Uh,
I'll do a motion to accept the minutes of,
Oh,
28.
thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
You can't say
I
it, you
can't
can
say
say
it.
yes.
Yes.
Okay, we're done.
Thank
Now,
you.
I'll have a motion to adjourn.